Okay, this is the third session of 4 with Geller Insurance, and today we're going to be talking about direct bill. So before we start, do either of you have questions about what we learned so far?
I think I'm pretty good. Hannah's the one that does the bulk of the invoicing, so she might have other questions.
Well, if you don't have any today, you will when you go live, I'm sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or if you practice, then you'll probably come up with some questions, maybe some unique things that you do that you need to know how to do in NEXSURE. So anyway, we'll look forward to that. But again, these sessions are meant to be kind of basic. We want to get your feet wet. We want to help you to understand the feel and the workflow in the program. And then
I think as far as invoicing, are you saying that you're done with invoicing, like agency bill?
yes, we're going to stop with agency bill and switch to direct bill today.
What about, I thought, did you say, you were going to go over financing. Did you do that? No.
We actually received a down payment, but I never showed you how to do a payment from the finance company.
Well, I mean like invoicing a finance policy.
Oh,
so
okay.
Basically you're saying, I guess it just kind of dawned on me, you don't have a finance company's receivable account, so you really are not billing finance policies any differently than you're billing any policies, because you're just then
right.
applying payment to the customer's account, so they're not even
billed. There are a couple things I can say. Yes, you're right. You're right on track. We do have a premium finance receivable account in the system, but it's not yet active. It's been put there for future functionality. So it's when you post an agency bill invoice that's financed, it's not going to hit the finance company receivable, at least not yet.
You bill policies that are financed, you're just billing them just as you would any other policy.
There is one exception. If you have a situation where a finance company pays the carrier directly, then we need to put in a premium finance credit on the invoice so that it reduces.
So how do you indicate that the policy is financed?
In the notes, or usually in the notes, you just type in 10% down, finance balance, or something like that. It's that unique invoice message field. I'll show it to you again.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, thank you. I was waiting to get instruction on billing finance policies, but it just dawned on me that if there's no finance, okay, I get it. Thank you.
It's the same. And then when you do a receipt from a finance company to pay the balance on that invoice, you do a client receipt, and in the remitter name field, you would just put the name of the finance company there. Do you want me to walk through that, or are you comfortable with that?
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay. And yeah. It will change, but it's not like, I don't know if it'll be in one of this year's releases or if it'll be next year, but it's on the horizon. They've written up specifications for the change, and it's just a matter of getting it prioritized high enough to actually get it in the system. So.
Okay.
All right, and all kinds of features. So we have 2 major releases every year, and we'll add features with those, and also we have monthly service packs that come out where we'll add smaller features, or make if we find a bug or something, we'll fix that in a monthly service pack. So, but you should know that all of the enhancements to the program, well, almost all of them come through the users group, and so they have the most leverage with this as far as getting what they want. And so if you can get to a users group meeting, we have one coming up in March, and it would be terrific if you could send somebody. They're in this. Have you heard about it yet?
No, I haven't.
It's in Orange County. It's in Brea, California, and right near our home office, actually. And if you can get in, let me give you a website address if you're interested. You can look up the user group website. It's called XDNet for X Dimensionals, xdnet.biz, B-I-Z. And you would need to join the users group and then sign up for the conference. And it's March 4th, 5th, and 6th, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have a lot of training classes. We do some fun events. Well, one Thursday night we'll have an activity where we'll go out and do something fun. In the past we've done bowling. We've done a dinner cruise. We did a movie theater where you eat dinner while you're watching a movie. We've done some fun stuff. But during the days we have training classes, and you can pick the ones that apply to you. And anyway, it's pretty fun to go. But yeah, and they have enhancement committee meetings for suggestions, and they'll all talk about the different ideas and prioritize those for us so that we can schedule them for upcoming releases. So we do listen to the suggestions from our users, and that's where most of the features come from. And this one you're talking about is, I think it's a pretty major one. It should be in the system by now, so I can't imagine it would be too far out. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears to direct bill. And I need to ask you a few questions about how you're doing that now in AMS, just to kind of get an idea of your experience so far. Are you doing commission download with any of your carriers?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been processing those to create invoices and reconcile as they come in?
Yes.
Okay, good. And are there some carriers you have, of course, that don't download?
Yes.
What do you do in that case?
Direct bill entry.
Okay, we have a similar feature in NEXSURE. One other feature that you might not have used before is what we call a spreadsheet import. And what that does is it mimics a commission download. So if you have a carrier that's willing to send you the statement in a spreadsheet, then you can copy paste that data into our import template and import it, and it behaves just like a commission download. So that's another option that we can look at today.
But it's called spreadsheet import?
We just call it Excel import or commission download. Well, it's commission import, I guess.
Oh, commission import.
It depends on who you talk to, really. We have a spreadsheet that allows you to import the commissions as if they came in from a download. But that doesn't go through Ivan's. That just comes in through the spreadsheet import tool.
Sure.
But it looks like an Ivan's import.
So that would be something to pursue after, yeah, we figure out.
Right. You may start doing direct bill entry, for the ones that don't download off the bat, but as soon as you try the spreadsheet, you'll probably become hooked. Smaller statements, if they've only got 10 or 20 items, it may not save you time to use the spreadsheet. But if you've got 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 or more on a carrier that doesn't download, you're going to love the spreadsheet.
And we do, so.
Okay, because that takes a lot of time to do those.
Yeah.
So if you can do them in the sheet or copy paste the columns in from a report from the carrier, then you're like, we're actually going to do one of those today, because in training I can't fabricate an Ivan's download. And so we're going to use a spreadsheet to pretend it was a download. So you'll get to see it in action today. And of course, the old-fashioned method of doing direct bill is just to invoice each policy individually, and then at the end of the month you get your statement and you reconcile what you had been invoicing all month. We don't have very many accounts that still do that, but you can do that, and you would create those invoices just like you do the agency bill invoices and manually
We
post.
don't do that, and we have no interest in doing that.
Then let's not waste your time. There might be a rare occasion where you've done a download and for some reason there's an invoice that didn't come in. Then you can manually create it or use the direct bill entry to create it, to add it to the recon. But yeah, let's not waste time on that. So let's just start out with what we call statement entry is what you call direct bill entry. And so we're going to do a statement entry. And let's see. I'll go over to the accounting shortcut. And we have a lot of policies in here for Hartford. I think Mary uses them quite a bit. So I'm going to go to reconciliation. Go ahead.
Just a moment. I'm not seeing your screen at all, so
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it'd help if I turn on the sharing. Can you see it now?
There you are, yes.
So the recording to this point will probably have a blank screen. That's okay. We've only been talking so far. Usually, when you're doing direct bill, the first thing you do is you want to deposit your payment. So is that how you do it? You'll process the incoming money and then you'll do a reconciliation for them?
Yes, not at the same time, but yes, that's how I do it.
In NEXSURE, it doesn't matter which one you do first. Let's do the receipt first, as if we want to get that into the bank. And so I use my accounting shortcut, and I'm going to go straight to receive payments. And I want you to take notes on this process, because when you receive money from a carrier, you need to put it in a clearing account. And this is the only time you'll have to do this, is when the money comes from a carrier. And so the first time through, it'd be good to write it down. So I'm at the Receive Payments tab, and I click Add New. And we're going.
I need you to go kind of slowly for me. I'm a slow writer.
Okay. I'll go slowly. Is this screen, can you see this okay, or is it too small?
A little small, but I mean, it's small.
I think for the benefit of the recording, I'm going to make it bigger, because people who watch this later will say, I can't read that, it's too small. And so let's go. Let me crank it down a little bit here to make it look bigger. Okay, so we'll go back into NEXSURE. There we go. Is that better?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to add a new receive payment for the carrier called Hartford. And when I search for Hartford, I'm finding a lot of carriers within that group. These ones that have S in parentheses are subordinate carriers to the parent, which is P. So from an accounting standpoint, it always makes sense to pick the parent, because this recon might have policies in any one of these subordinate carriers, and if you pick just one of these, you're going to not be able to see the ones for the other subordinate carriers. So always pick the one with a P, that's the parent, or the primary. Just as a habit, it's a good rule of thumb is just always pick with a P. Okay. And you'll be doing that, you won't even be thinking about it in the future, so you don't ever really need to pick a subordinate one. Okay, then it brings up the new screen here, which looks similar to the receive payment screen. Oh, this is a payment. Sorry, I thought we were in recon. So we're doing a receive payment, and it gives it a payment ID of $695. Our date booked is today, and you could backdate that or change the date if you like. But the rest of this information really isn't here until we complete this screen. So remitter name, I could leave that blank because it is Hartford, but some people don't like to leave blank fields, so you could type it in, or you could come up here and copy paste if you'd like to put something in that field. The date's okay. Let's say this one came in as a wire transfer, and so instead of check number, I could just say EFT. Really doesn't matter, but whatever you do, it's good that everybody does it the same. just so that it looks uniform throughout your system. And I forgot the amount. I think it's about $8,488. Let me go to, let's see, Excel import, where are you? And there's one there. I just have to get my number here. 882488. Thank you. Okay. So this particular statement is this amount. And then the description, commonly you would probably put something like January 2015 statement. We okay so far? We're just receiving the money so we can get it deposited, and then we'll do the reconciliation next. So this is the part that you need to write down. Under quick navigation now, we need to park this money in a clearing account so it can be reconciled. And there's a specific account that we're going to use. So under quick navigation, we go to General Ledger. And then it brings up a screen where we can add a row. So you click General Ledger, then you click Add Row. And we need to search for that GL account. So to do that, you click this little button here with the ellipsis symbol on it, that little square button. Tell me if I'm getting ahead of you.
You are a little.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute. So General Ledger, Add Row, and then click the search button.
Okay. All right.
Okay, when we're here, we can type in the number or we can search for it by name. It doesn't matter which. Or I can just click search and it will show me all my accounts in order. And I know it's this 110,910 account right here. But so if when I'm searching, if I know that, I can search for 110,910 and it comes up. Or if I don't know the number, I can just type part of the word and it'll come up. So search by name or by account number. The number you want to get though is 110,910. Reconciliation clearing account. That's the one we need. So then you just click OK. Oh, one of our other trainers, Mary, has put what we call a post warning on this account. And all that means is that anytime you pick the account, it's going to give you this warning. And this is something you can turn on or off for any GL account. So here it says we've selected a restricted account. Click OK to proceed or cancel to go look for a different account. Well, we do want this account. So thank you for the warning, but we're going to keep going. So any accounts that you want to protect and you don't want people to post things to accidentally, you could put post warnings on those so that they realize that they picked the wrong account. But here's our account number here, 110,910. And so we would
Explain why you're putting this here.
Yes, this is incoming money from a carrier that has not yet been sent to income. So the reconciliation process sends it to income, and so we're just parking it in a suspense account. Basically, this account called reconciliation clearing is a suspense account.
The reconciliation of the direct bill statement? Or
the incoming payment, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the reconciliation is the statement that has all the invoices that we're going to create. That's where income is going to get recognized. So that process automatically pulls it out of this account and books it to income.
Okay.
First time through, just trust me, and second time through, it will probably be a little bit easier for you.
Okay.
So we're going to park this incoming credit that will end up in income. We're temporarily going to put it here as a credit. And then when we do the incoming download or whatever, that's what moves it out of this account and into income.
Okay.
And I'll give you a variation if you don't like where we're putting that. there is a variation where you can put it in an unreconciled income account instead of this 110 account, which is on your balance sheet accounts. That's in the assets. So you might, I do have a couple of clients that prefer that, but we'll talk about that later. This is where it goes for most people.
Okay.
Okay, so you just click Save and Post. Once you've put it into the right account, you can post it. And it brings up the confirmation screen, and you just say OK. So this one is now posted. And if I had made a mistake here or picked the wrong account or put in the wrong amount or something, you can always reverse this and redo it. We okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably pretty foreign to you, and that's okay, first time through. Okay, the next thing we want to do is process the incoming download, or spreadsheet in this case. And so to do that, we're going to go over to the interface screen where all the downloads come in, all the Ivans downloads will be coming in over here. If you click on Home and go to Interface on the black menu, this is where all the incoming downloads will be for your daily downloads. All the policy changes, they all come in this way. And when you set up download, that's where you're going to find all of them. It's here under Home, Interface. So we would come in here and we would see the commission download, and I can use my filter to find those. If I go into my filter, I could clear it by clicking Clear, and then I can say for file type, show me all of my commission downloads. And I could tell it to always do that just by clicking Save Filter Settings. It will remember that I want to see commission downloads. And search, and I'm not going to find any here because, again, this is a training database and you can't fabricate an Ivans download. So instead of that, today I'm going to pick Excel commission download file because this is how we mimic a commission download. And let's see if there are any out there. Of course there are a whole bunch because I've demonstrated this a lot of times. It's currently listing this in chronological order with the oldest ones on top. So in my filter I can say show me these descending instead of ascending, and then click search again. And now I can see that the last one I did was on the 12th of January. So, but these are all complete. The status on every one of these is complete. So we're going to set up a new one. So you don't need to take notes on this the first time through, and you will have the recording of this training session to come back and revisit. So just set down your pencil and let's go to our spreadsheet, and you can just kind of watch what we're doing. Okay, so I have a carrier that doesn't download, but I am able to somehow get that statement into a spreadsheet. And it probably won't look like this from your carrier, but it should have most of these columns on it because they're all part of the statement. The line of business, policy number, effective and X date should be there, the name of the insured. The NAIC code won't be there typically on the statement, but the transaction type is there. The effective date is usually there, the transaction date, I mean. The gross amount is the premium, the commission rate is obvious, and here's your commission amount. So the sheet itself is pretty straightforward. The main thing that usually doesn't show on the statement is this NAIC code. And so you need to populate that yourself based on the NAIC code or codes for the carriers on that statement. And you get that from the carrier setup, or there's a carrier report you can run that will show the NAIC code for every carrier you have in your system. So you can keep that as a reference until you memorize them. So we're going to import this small statement here as if it were an incoming download. And so we have, this one only has 12 items on it. And obviously you can have some that may have hundreds, but we want to keep it simple for our training. So I'm going to save this into a folder that I've set up as my import folder. I've created this folder called Excel Import. And let me put today's date on here so that it will be applicable. What's today? 2/4. It's my sister's birthday. 2/4/15. So I'm saving this in my folder I've designated for Excel Import. And then I can just close it and come back to this screen on the interface, Home Interface tab. This is where I have the ability to import that now. So when you're on this screen, you'll see this blue link that says Import Files. So you simply click Import Files, and it has you pick the branch. Now you're going to have two branches, but it won't matter which one you pick. It'll still find it either way. And then you just click Continue. Oh, it's not finding any. Am I pointing to the right place? I'm going to click Setup to go see if I have the right. Oh, it looks like I deleted my the folder I had set up out there. I'm going to create. I got to go tell it what folder to look in. So this is my Excel import. I'll give it a name, and then I can search for it. And for me, it's under Documents, X-Dimensional, Excel Import. And that's actually it, Excel Import. So I had to tell it, it'll remember this once you set it up. So I want to view the files that are available. It looks like I had some other things in there, but here's the one from today right there. So I'll select today's file and click Import. Okay, that was fast. Let's see. So if I refresh my filter here, or just refresh my my items, I can just click Show Me the Filter and click Search. It should be right on top. Here it is right there. So it just imported this file, and the reason I know it's the right one is because I can check the date received and the status, and that tells me that it came in today and it didn't have any exceptions. An exception in NEXSURE is when something doesn't match. It can't find the client, it can't find the policy number, it's a line of business mismatch, the effective or expiration dates don't match. It checks each one as they come in and makes sure that there are no exceptions. So if your daily download has been coming in and they resolve the exceptions on daily downloads, then usually a commission download at the end of the month doesn't have any exceptions because your people will have already processed the daily stuff and overcome those exceptions. When you have a mismatch that becomes an exception and you fix it, NEXSURE remembers that so that that same exception won't appear next month. You train the system as you say, okay, this client coming in means this client in your system. From that point forward, it will always remember that. So it's no longer an exception, and this one didn't find any exceptions. So we need to go in now and finish processing this or reconcile this incoming item. So whether this came in from a spreadsheet or came in from a carrier, you'll have the same line item. It'll look just like this. The only difference here is that it would say commission download here instead of commission import. So I'm going to open the details of that line item so I can process it. And this shows me all of my line items that were imported. The header tells me that it is an Excel import.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Are all the companies in that same spot then? They're not under their own?
Well, the incoming downloads will be, they'll all come to this area from all carriers. They all come into this same interface area. But on daily downloads, it shows the carrier name.
It does, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if I have any Let's see if they have any daily download carriers so you can see. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a few. Progressive and CNA have come in. So daily downloads will look like this, but they won't have a commission amount. They'll always be 0 for the daily policy changes. Only commission downloads will have a commission amount on them.
But I mean commission statements that download.
Okay.
If the commission statement does download, they're all in this area, not in the, like they don't have a separate company. You don't go to Progressive as a company and then find,
Correct.
the state there. You find it here.
Yep. All the downloads come through here.
As Progressive statement?
Yeah, well,
Or are all just in here?
this is in NEXSURE that they all come into this area and then we process them. I think in AMS they come in and automatically go to the carrier and then you go in and post it.
Right.
In NEXSURE they all come here and you'll see all the ones that are waiting to be processed and you'll just process them and post them. So it's similar, but they all come into the same area in NEXSURE
Right.
to be worked
But
on.
do they say which carrier they are when the commission statement downloads?
I wish I could look at a real one here. Some do. This is going to sound funny. Some do and some don't. Some of them just say commission download in that column.
Okay.
But other times, and like Liberty Mutual, I think, just says commission download. It doesn't say it. But some other carriers will actually say the name. So, and I don't know why. Why some do and some don't. But you can you could open up any one of these and you can click on, if even here it wouldn't show here, but if you open up any one of these policies, it'll jump you to that and you can say, okay, well, if I didn't know, and you'll become familiar with them fairly quickly, but this is Penn National on that particular one. So you could jump into one of these policies and say, well, who is that? Why, I don't recognize this. I don't recognize those policy numbers. Well, just jump straight into one of them, and this one's Penn National. So you can see that from there. But yeah, sometimes I don't know why it doesn't show. And in this one, it's generic because we did the import from a spreadsheet, and there's no place on the spreadsheet that identifies the carrier except that NAIC code. So I guess from that, we could probably have that fixed so that looking at the NAIC code, it'll put the carrier name, but it doesn't right now. It just shows like that. So it brings in the downloaded information, and so all we need to do now is click a few buttons to get it to create the invoices and the reconciliation. So we hit the Create Invoices button, and it tells us what it's about to do, so we say OK. And you have to hit refresh a couple times. This one's up to 6. You can watch that count go up. So you could, if it was a big one, you could walk away, go get a cup of coffee, and come back. And for 12, it took about maybe 8 or 10 seconds to do 12. So if you had 200, then you have a couple minutes. You could probably run and take a break and come back. So this one has now created 12 invoices. So you click on the same link, which has now changed to View Invoices, and it will show you what's here. And basically it's just showing you what it's done. And then you click Create Recon. There is an option here to create and post the recon in one click, but I don't recommend that because you still need to go in and put in a description on the recon. You ought to pull in the receipt so they balance. So I wouldn't use that. Just use Create Recon.
What about,
Go ahead.
I mean, like verifying the producer commissions, where does that show?
Right, let's see here. Over here on the right it says Other Commissions.
Uh-huh.
So if you click that, it gives you a chance to view it. This is Mary, and she's getting 33%.
So you
And
click.
yeah, it doesn't show it on the width of that screen. Here she's getting 20%. So do you commonly go through and verify each one?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. If we go back, well, it's really not any better on the other screen. We have had some people request the producer's commission to show in this screen, but to do that, they're going to have to modify the width of some of these fields to make room. Currently, this is how you would do it, you'd have to say Carrie Underwood, and you would have to click on it, and you would view it this way, 76%, but there isn't really a shorter way to do that. If this were not correct at this point, these invoices currently are not posted, and so I could modify that amount and fix it for this invoice before any time up until you hit Create Recon. When you hit Create Recon, it posts all these invoices. So then we'd have to do a commission adjustment in the Recon to fix it. But currently that's how you do it. Is just look at it at the bottom there. Okay so far. I'm going to hit Create Recon and click OK to confirm. And let's let this one process. So the status while it's doing this says Recon processing. And it takes about the same amount of time as it took to create the invoices. Okay, this one's done. So reconciliation created. If I click on that now, it'll show me that it created Recon 690. But regardless, if I hit my accounting shortcut, it's going to take me directly to the accounting screen, and I will see it on top. Right here. It would jump you right to here, and then when you click reconciliation, it's just the one that's on top. The most recent one is always on top, 690. So the process we've done so far is when the import came in, we hit Create Invoices, and then we clicked View Invoices, and then we click Create Recon. 3 clicks so far. And in that window of time, you could also go and validate all of the producer commissions if you need to do that. And then you open up the details of the reconciliation here. So here's an unposted recon that it created. So in the description field, we would put something like January 2015 statement. We're not creating a disbursement here, so that doesn't need to be checked. Under quick navigation, we do want to go out and get the receipt that's waiting that we parked in that suspense account, that clearing account. So you click Receipts, Disbursements, and you'll see, did we not post that? Oh, I put it under Hartford, and this recon that we did is under Penn National. Sorry about that. I'm going to detour just for a minute here. And I'm going to go do another one real quick. So I'm going to go do a new receive payment and add new, and this time it's a carrier for Penn. And I pick the parent, say OK. And then remitter doesn't matter. We'll make this one an EFT also. Payment amount was $88.24.88. Do you ever have situations where your carrier bills you for MVR fees or puts bonus commission on the statements.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's change this dollar amount then. Let's say that they're going to dock you $100 for MVR fees, but they're going to increase it $50 for some kind of bonus. So I actually have two of them in there. So I'm going to put in a different amount than the invoices that were created because of that. So I'll go ahead and post the, I'll actually have to park that in that GL account called Recon Clearing. So I search for that. I know it's 110. You can type in part of the number or part of the name and it'll still find it. There's my post warning. I can ignore that. 8174. So I put in my amount, click save, and then that's okay to post. Click OK. Sorry for that. I knew it wasn't Hartford. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so now we go back to our reconciliation, which is in progress, which is number 690. And when I come up here to quick navigation and I go look for that receipt, I have to clear the dates out of my filter, but it'll be right there. 696 for 8174.88. So this is the incoming payment. So I want to pick that. And now I want to go down to direct bill invoices where my 12 invoices will be waiting. And they're already selected. And so I don't have to do anything here except for hit Pay All Selected. And that applies that incoming payment from the carrier to each of those invoices so that they're flagged as paid. Okay. Now, 81. I took a little more than I thought. So we're off now by $650. That's saying we didn't get as much as our invoices equaled, and that's because of the other items that are on the statement. So we're going to go do adjustments now to account for those other items that are on the statement. One of them is an MVR fee. So I click adjustments and I'm going to add a row and search for my GL account that I use for MVR expense. And I happen to have one out there called MVR fees. And it looks like this is going to be a $700. Excuse my math here. So I put that in and I click save, and now I'm $50 off for that bonus commission that was on the statement. So I can add another row. I'm not sure if I have a bonus account in here. Bonus, oh yeah, I do. Bonus commissions right there. And that'll be a credit because it's income of $50. So you can add as many line items there as you need. But when you're through, the math at payroll balance, the receipt amount plus the adjustments equal the income, and that virtual message that was showing here has vanished. It disappears when you're in balance. So that's our goal, is to make that go away so that these numbers balance on a direct bill recon. Yesterday when we were paying the carrier using a reconciliation, we ended with a virtual disbursement because we were planning to create a disbursement. But today we're not, in a direct bill recon, you're not creating a disbursement, and so you'll want it to balance to zero. Does that make sense? You want to do another one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to post this, and that'll finalize. Well, I get a chance to confirm. Come on. There it goes. Oh, it does show me all of my debits and credits here if I'm interested in that, but I can just click OK to confirm. Okay, so that one's completely finished. So let's do another one. Let's start with the receive payment from the carrier. So I'll click Add New, and we'll go to Carrier. Actually, if we do it again, it's going to be the same amount because that's the scenario I set up with my spreadsheet. Oh, it's in a different folder now. I should mention that once the import takes place, NEXSURE moves it out of the import folder into a subfolder called Imported. So NEXSURE creates that folder automatically within whatever folder that you use. So you'll see it'll pull out of that folder and drop it into the imported folder once it imports. So I just got to find today's. It was 2. I probably passed it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I want to cut that out of there, and I'm going to put it back in this folder so we can import it again. Okay, so we have the same folder, or the same import we're going to do again so that I don't have to take time to create a new one. And our dollar amount that we're dealing with is $88.24.88. Are you comfortable with the adjustments that we did, or do you want to do adjustments on this one also?
I think it's fine. We don't need to do adjustments.
Okay. So I'll just do a receipt for the full amount. Okay, and EFT is fine. January 2015 statement. And general ledger, we're going to add the GL row here. You know, technically you could have expensed the amount here and put the bonus commission here if you like, instead of doing it in the recon. I could have 3 line items here, the amount that will be the 88.24.88 of invoices, and then I could have my my bonus commission line item, and my MVR expense could also be here instead of in the recon. So it doesn't matter where you do it, as long as you send the right amount to this account that equals the total of the invoices. Most people do it in the recon just because I think it's a little bit easier, less confusing. But it wouldn't matter. See, did I post that? Oh, I left it unposted. Post. There we go. Okay, so that can be deposited as normal. Let's go ahead and go back over to our spreadsheet, and we really don't have any other things to change there actually, so that all looks good. So to get to our interface screen to import that, we click Home, and then Interface, and then Import Files. Again, you pick your branch and click Continue. Ah, it didn't remember. It does remember, trust me. I don't know what I've done here, but it'll remember, trust me, it does. Okay, there's our file we want to import. So you just click Import. It'll tell you when the file has been transferred. Then it brings you over to the screen, and it's actually right on top. This one right here is the one that just came in. And I know that because the one we had done prior now says recon complete, so that one's finished. This one only has the exceptions finished, so let's go ahead and process that one now. So you open the details of it. You click Create Invoices. You say OK. And then you hit refresh, and it's up to 3. Hit refresh again. 4. Maybe I better give it a few more seconds. Refresh until it seems to have paused there for a minute. There we go. It's done. Okay, the status is now Create Invoice Complete. So we can view those invoices. And you could check your commissions if you need to. Make sure those are correct. And he's at 20% for trainee number. Is that trainee I? Trainee I. When you're finished checking those, you just hit Create Recon and confirm. And then just hit refresh a couple times until the status says Recon Complete. There it is, Recon Complete, and it's created. And then this, of course, is 691. So I would jump over to accounting. Now this particular organization has 2 territories set up, and I have it pointing to the other territory. So my accounting shortcut, if I go to reconciliation, it's not going to be here because I did my download into the other territory. But your organization only has 1 territory, so that won't be a problem. So to get over to the other territory, I just have to go back to the org level and go to territories and pick the other territory. And now when I go to accounting, transactions, it's here under reconciliation 691. So again, you won't have to do that, but for my training example, I pick the other territory, or the download is designed to come into the other territory. So you open the details, you enter in the description, and you start from the top down. We go to receipts, and we clear the filter, and there's our receipt. And then we go to invoices, direct bill. They're all here already selected. Oh, by the way, let's say that we do have a commission rate that's not correct here. This does show us our producer commissions here. So let's say that Carrie Underwood here is supposed to get a different percentage rate, and 20 is not correct. You are allowed to do a commission adjustment from the recon, whether it's your agency commission or the producer's commission. So let's just click on the invoice number for this one under the invoice ID column. You can click right on the number and it will open the invoice. And keep in mind it is a posted invoice, so I can't change the postings of what's there, but I can append to it, kind of like we did yesterday. I can go down to the producer commission section, and I can either modify that or I can add 13. If it's supposed to be 33, I could add 13% more, or I can change that one. Instead of 20, I can change it to 33. And watch what it'll do. It'll add the additional 13% as an additional line item there. So if you did get one that's wrong, this would be a good opportunity to adjust it. And I do need to post my adjustment. Excuse me, I had to cough there. My voice is going hoarse again today. So this is what it will look like. Where's Carrie? It'll show the change there, but there's no need for it to create a separate line item, a -1 line item, because the agency commission did not change. But you'll see that that's now fixed. It's now 33%. So you could just skip checking on the prior screen, let them all post even if they have a mistake, and then you could do a commission adjustment here before you post the recon. Questions? Okay, then I'm just going to hit Pay All Selected so that it marks all those as paid. My virtual message is gone because we're in balance, and that's ready to post. Okay, did that make sense to everyone?
I think so.
Okay, I would mention here before we leave the screen, once again, if you want to see the debits and credits, you click under Reconciliation Posting, and it'll show all the debits and credits. You can see it automatically cleared that out of the Reconciliation Clearing account. And the Direct Bill Commission receivables, of course, had the ins and outs, debits and credits to pay all those items from the invoices you just generated. Oh, one other thing about the invoice I should mention. Because we made a change to Carrie Underwood's 31854, I forgot to show that to you. I'm going to go here to the Invoices tab and look up invoice 31854 by searching with the filter. And I'm going to open the details of that. So at the bottom, of course, you'll expect to see the adjustment we made. The 13% is here, but I want you to see what the postings do. It adds that 49.40. Well, let's see, we created it today. If you had created the invoice prior, what I want to show you is that the date booked of the original invoice might be different than the adjustment line items. So if we had booked this invoice yesterday, these would say February 3rd, but the adjustment line items would say February 4th. And so you would know that was an adjustment for that reason as well, because you're not actually changing the original invoice, you're adding to it. Okay, if I can get my voice back, we'll continue. Let's go ahead and do what we call statement entry, which is, of course, what you call, I think in AMS it's just called direct bill entry. Is that right? So we'll use Hartford for that one, since I know we have a lot of Hartford policies in there. So from the accounting section, I used my accounting shortcut. There's no process that automatically creates the recon, so we're going to create the recon as we begin to put these in from the statement. So you click Add New Reconciliation. It comes up as carrier, that's fine. We'll search for Hartford, pick the parent, and say OK. And the reconciliation screen is the same as the one we just did, only there are no invoices sitting out here waiting to be selected because we haven't created those yet. So here we have the January 2015 statement. We probably would have put the receipt in, and actually I do have a receipt out there because I mistakenly put it in earlier for Hartford. It looks like we have a few sitting out there. Let's pick this one that I created today. 882488. So you'll select the receipt that you're going to reconcile. But if we come down here to Invoices Direct Bill, I'm not going to find those 12 invoices sitting out there because I haven't created them yet. And there was no automated process to do that because we didn't use the spreadsheet import, we didn't download. So now we have to enter those through what we call statement entry. And that happens to be the very next link here under Quick Navigation. So statement entry will go out and find all of the candidate policies that could be invoiced. And by default it looks at the prior month, but in reality you probably need to go back further than that. So under the filter, if you show the filter, if you click clear, it'll clear out those dates, and then you can click search. And this will return, in this case, 198 policies it found that could be invoiced. Okay.
So it really just pulls all policies with that carrier?
Well, if that's what you have for your filter settings, and I cleared it out, so if I clear the filter settings, it will return all of them. So you may have 1,000, 2,000, which becomes kind of tedious. So if you know the date range, oh, Martha commented that this is called Direct Bill Statement Deluxe or Statement, I missed the message.
Yeah, I know what she's talking about.
Okay, Martha sent me a note and said it's called this, because she knows AMS really well.
Oh.
So
Okay.
if you want to see everything, you clear the filter and you're going to get a lot. But if you don't want to see everything, then you could put in a date range. I only want to see, maybe you only want to go back to October. And I could leave the to date open, which means it'll show me everything forward from October. And then instead of 198, this time I only got 85.
Okay.
But any policy that's not in history will come out. And then you say, well, wait a minute. What if I have an audit that is in history? Well, that's fine. You can say include policies in history. And then when I search, I'm going to get a lot more. 98. So you have some filter options there to help you. There are some other things that help as well. For instance, you want these to be organized alphabetically by client name. So I can say sort field 1, ascending, and then I can search. Or by policy number, and it puts them in that order. And also I want to see more than 10 at a time. You can tell it to display more than just those few at a time. Oh, come on. And also you can make your screen bigger by hitting this maximize button here. So I have a little bit more real estate on my screen to go down and say, okay, my first one is Lena Marie, and it happens to be this umbrella policy. Now notice here this one has a letter H in front of it. That tells me that one's from history.
Oh.
So anytime you see the H, that's the historical record. But we want to do this homeowner for Lena Marie. So all you need to do, if the dollar amounts all look correct, you just check the box. But if it's not correct, then here you'd put in the amount you received. So we only received $120 for that one. What it'll do is it'll backward calculate the premium based on what I put here. If I put 130, watch what it does to the premium. It'll update the premium based on 20% commission that was on that one. If this commission is not correct, I can override that, and the math will take place that needs to. And if it's still 130, then it'll backward calculate the premium. So you can mess with these buttons if you like, so that it'll always, whatever you put in for the commission or the premium, based on the commission rate, it will calculate it for you. And sometimes
commission on the end there in the ellipsis.
Yeah, this is the producer's commission. Well, let's see, the column here. Yes, that's the producer's commission right there.
Where you change it is clicking on the end, if you have to change that amount?
Only if you have to change the rate.
Yeah, if you have to change the rate, so you click on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that will allow you to change the producer's rate if the rate from the policy is incorrect.
Okay.
Come on, refresh. And so down here I could say instead of 50%, this producer should only get 20%. And then when you go back up to that one, I'm displaying a lot on the screen right now. It was Lena Marie, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was this one right here. So now it's only, no, that's personal marine. I'm not sure which one I clicked on, but that is, this one right here does show 20, no, that's 50% still. Oh, it was this one, wasn't it? No, that's a commercial auto. Oh, you know what? It was the homeowners. What have I done? Where did it go? There it is. It moves it down to the bottom so you can see them both at the same time. That's what it's doing. So when you put the new amount of 20% times 130, how do I refresh that screen? It should give us about, what, 26, let's see, 130, 26 bucks. Come on. There it goes. So when you do something that refreshes the screen, it'll update that to the correct amount. So you're able to overwrite it right there. And so to do this then for XYZ recycling, if I didn't, if this was somewhere down the list and I want to search by policy number, you can, I'm going to copy that because I don't want to memorize the number, but you can use the filter also to just search by policy number. So I can paste it in there and then search. And it will just show me all policies that have that number, and usually there's only one or so. So I did keep Lisa Marie, or Lena Marie here because that one's already checked, but here's the one I just searched for. So in this case we're getting paid $140. And then I can, what were some of the other names in that list here? You can also search by client name. So if I want to search for Marie, I can search by client name there or here. And it'll look up any that have the name Marie in them. And of course Lena Marie is the only one. Oh, there's a Rebecca Marie. And this one we got the full amount and that all looks correct, so I could just check that box. And let's say that this one for Lena Marie on the personal umbrella is an endorsement. So you could change that to endorsement and say it was only a $12.50 amount. And are there any negatives? The personal inland marine was a cancellation, and it happens to be a negative $450. And so you can go through and modify those. And by the way, the cancellation was not effective. It was a midterm cancellation that happened on June 3rd. So you can change the effective date on that invoice. It doesn't affect the date booked, but the effective date of what's being billed, it would now say June 3rd on it instead of December 1st. And maybe this endorsement happened on 12/20. So you are able to also change the date of that particular change for the billing if you like.
What is the add rows drop down? What's that for?
Oh, good question. So let's say on this homeowner policy that you had two things happen. You have the initial new premium, but there's also an endorsement at the same time, but you only have one line item to work with. And so if I want to add another row for this particular policy, I can tell it how many rows I want to add. I want to add one more. And then when I click Save, what it will do is it will give me a second line item for that one right below it. So this is the one I told it to add rows, so now this one can be the endorsement for the very same policy. And in this case, the endorsement was only a $51 change. Maybe it was a negative $51. And so that way I'm able to bill the same policy more than once. So I thank you for asking. I might have forgotten to do that. So that just lets you create more line items for that particular policy. So once you're done, and I've only reached $536. I have a long way to go. So I got to get up to 8,000. So let's go do an $8,000 line item here. I'm going to clear out Marie and just pick up some others here. Search. I know we're about out of time. Thank you for staying late with me. And I'll just wrap this one up and we'll call it a day and pick up where we started, or pick up where we left off tomorrow. So for Corn Corporation, we have an $8,000 one, a big one. So how close? Oh, sometimes your insurance company will they'll be off by a penny or two, and it's not always the right dollar amount. Why didn't that one update here? I think it's processing. I can hear the fan on my computer kick on like it's going into turbo mode here. That should be instantaneous. Do I have something else running? Nope.
Change your commission percentage.
It should have.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah, if I move that to 10. Oh, there we go. I didn't like my number for some reason. There we go. Okay, so that one's a bigger premium. Let's see how close we are now. So at the bottom, it'll tell us so far we've selected. Oh, how did we get to 22,000? It must have taken that one. Did it put it at the bottom? Come on. Hurry up. There's my 8,000, but it's only here once. Okay, well, I don't know what I've done here. If there's something that's going to go wrong, it will happen in a training session. Okay, let's see if I got back to the number that we were at. Now we're at 14,000. So where's my big number? That doesn't make sense. Something here. All these are fine. I might have to troubleshoot this offline and see what I've done. So now my number is still 14,000. But I don't have 14,000 worth of items here that are selected, so that doesn't make sense. I think I'll troubleshoot it offline, and tomorrow I'll tell you what happened, but I don't want to waste your time while I'm trying to figure out why that's not totaling correctly. Yeah, that all looks clean. So I'll mess with that tomorrow, and we'll take a break for 24 hours and 23 hours and resume tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your time today. Go ahead.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, thank you.
tomorrow we'll finish up on the direct bill piece, and then we'll do bank deposits, we'll do journal entries, we'll do producer payables, and tax authority payables if you need that, paying your vendors, those kinds of things, printing checks, those kinds of things. And we should be able to wrap that up in an hour. If we go over tomorrow, there is a possibility we could schedule a 5th session, or we could just continue until we're finished tomorrow. So I'll let you decide. I do have an hour after our session available is open, so
Great.
if we need to take extra time tomorrow, we can, or we can schedule a new one.
Okay.
All right, everyone, thank you for your time, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.